I am Kurt Warner of Dickinson Truck Equipment. I'd like to welcome you to this episode of Special Cowboy Moments.
When I was little, probably first or second grade, for school, I had to fill out a form saying what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I had a whole list of things, but I wanted to be a TV star, I wanted to be a cowgirl, I wanted to compete in rodeos all over the world, I wanted to be Miss America, a rancher. I had a whole list of things. So I've been very ambitious from a young age and had a lot of goals and dreams. And so I just think it all started from the very beginning as just a passion God gave me from the beginning. But in college, I went to Colby Community College. I got associate degrees in ag business and communications, and they actually had a program where we did evening news. So I learned how to write stories, shoot stories, edit. I anchored the evening news. I would work in the production side of things as well. So it was really cool to learn all aspects of that there at the community college. Then I won Miss Rodeo America. So I made a lot of connections that year and got a lot of experience being in front of the camera and promoting rodeo and the Western way of life. After that year, I had a scholarship, so I finished my education, getting my bachelor's in media arts, and it was really unique. I mean, I had classes from like digital painting, a lot of different photography classes, so I just learned all different aspects of media. And then graduated with that degree and was hoping to, get a career started in media and being on camera. And it didn't really work that way. Everyone wants to see what you can do. They want you to have experience. And so it was hard to get started, but I had met Pam Minnick, and she was a huge inspiration to me. And so she was helping me get in touch with Randy Bernard, who was working with RFD TV and Patrick Gotch. And I remember seeing that they were going to broadcast the Miss Rodeo America pageant, and I thought that would be perfect because I know all about that and I could be a huge asset to that broadcast. And so Pam told me, you gotta email Randy again. And I said, I'm not emailing him again. I feel like a stalker at this point, and like if they want me, they'll come after me. Well, now I realize when you get busy and it's later on in life, you need someone to continue following up with you. And so I'm glad she encouraged me to do that. I emailed him. I was working 3 jobs at the time. I was processing cattle at feedlots in Kansas, bartending at the country club, and then farming for my uncle. And so I think it was like 11 p.m. at night, and Randy emailed me back and asked if I could meet them the next day. So I got up that next morning. So that night I had been bartending at the country club. Got up the next morning, we processed cattle at like 5 a.m. I don't remember how many head we ran through, but it was a lot, it was like 500 head. And I stopped by my parents' house because it was on the way to Kansas City, took a shower, got ready, and went and met Randy and Patrick there. And we didn't have a whole lot of time. It was a banquet event that they were at. So they invited me to jump on the jet and go to Omaha and look around the headquarters the next day, and they wanted to, just ask me some more questions. So I did that. We went to a Huskers game. I mean, it was just, from the beginning, it's been a lot of fun, and there's just been so many different perks to the job, I guess, that have just made it very interesting. But Randy offered me the job to work at the NFR, and then I got to the NFR. I ended up hosting shows with Leah Garcia, which was so cool, and I learned so much from her. And then after Patrick saw me, and the work that I did out there, then he offered me a full-time position. So I moved to Omaha, Nebraska for a short while. Then I moved to Nashville, which is where the RFD TV studios are. And I was there for about 5 years before they launched the Cowboy Channel, and then I moved to Texas. When I was in high school, I had a really bad head injury, and I lost all my memory from all my childhood years. And so it's interesting because there are certain things I can remember usually pretty vaguely because I've seen pictures or someone's talked about them. But yeah, it's hard to look back and remember, very clearly because I had that experience, and it's kind of bizarre because I wanted to be a vet so badly. And then after that happened, I just couldn't retain information, and I knew there was no way I could, make it through vet school and be a vet. And so I think that was kind of a point where I switched, my career goals a little bit, and which is crazy because now I feel like I have to remember so much information, but I just make lots of notes and I make it work. And thankfully, once you get to know people, then, it just kind of sticks with you. You know things about them. And so, but yeah, it's hard to look back and remember like exact things other than just, I do think, 4-H was a big part of that, sports. When I started getting into pageants, I studied a lot and I worked with coaches and just tried to build up that confidence. The first pageant I did, I was 11, and I got up on stage and completely forgot my speech and was just devastated. And so looking back, it's those experiences that make you be even more prepared or learn how to prepare differently so that when that moment comes, you just remember, your highlights of your speech and you can pick up or, whatever it is. And so I think all those experiences have played into helping build who I am today. I grew up going to church, and I'm so thankful that my grandma to this day prays for me all the time. And so I just think having that foundation of faith was very important. I remember the day that I decided to ask Jesus into my heart and be born again. And then I was baptized later. And so that's all happened throughout my life. I've always felt a very strong faith. Before I competed for Miss Rodeo America, I remember feeling so much pressure from everyone to win. They expected me to do well, they expected me to win. And I remember before the pageant just praying, if this is your will, like I would love that. But if it's not, I want to trust that your plan is better. And the peace that I had was just so incredible. And I was able to go and be my best and do my best there. And thankfully it was part of God's plan for me to be Miss Rodeo America.
Dakota Community Bank and Trust is your leading ag lender. We have always promoted farming, ranching, rodeo, and our Western heritage. In 1987, Hugh Connolly won the first saddle we sponsored, and since then we have sponsored nearly 200 saddles to rodeo athletes. We have been a leader in the ag business and the Western way of life since 1940. We have been a proud sponsor of rodeo, ranching, cowboys, and the cowboy way for the last 80 years. Come bank with us at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
Big Boy Toys.
When looking for a new financial institution, forget the rest and head west. Head to Western Cooperative Credit Union. Whatever your financial need, we're the best in the West and probably everywhere else too. Western Cooperative Credit Union. Join the herd.
Heritage has always been a strong part of our families. The communities that we have gone into, from Sydney to Williston and that, we have fit in well because we are a Western family. When they walk out of that church or funeral home and see those horses there, they're going back into their day. And they might be using other modes today, but their heart was always in that way to take them to the cemetery in their last ride and give them a final tribute.
Charbonneau Car Center provides a low-pressure sales experience with great customer service and a variety of models to choose from. We can put you in the vehicle that fits your lifestyle. No gimmicks, no games. Charbonneau Car Center, great service, great savings. Buick, experience the new Buick.
I get asked a lot, how do I get your job? and I get told that I have the dream job. So I definitely don't take it for granted by any means. I am very appreciative and so thankful for the way everything has been able to come together, and the people that have been placed in my life and where I'm at today. And you know, I have so many that I could give credit to. Pam Minnick, of course, is one, because I just am so inspired by her. And she's one of those, I mean, to be real honest, not everybody in the industry is for you. And you will learn that very quickly. But Pam Minnick is one of those that she wants to just shatter ceilings and see everyone go up. And I love that, and I want to be that. You know, I want to help others, and I want to be genuine and real and loyal and all of those great qualities. I think it's so important to always be professional. I preach that a lot, but at the same time, you have to take risks and you have to take chances to get where you want to go and to experience life to its fullest, you know, because it can be so short and it can change so quickly. And so just to make the most of every opportunity and every day is really, really important. I think I'm realizing more and more how important it is to just see the big picture and to realize how, you know, the importance that you can have on someone else's life, because I've seen, you know, others come forward and the difference that it's made in my life, and I want to be that and do that for others. It is so cool to get to interview the winners and the champions, especially after just like a milestone win or just like such a special win. And a lot of times, you know, you can feel the emotion, see the emotion in their eyes. And I just try so much to ask the right things or to set them up so that they can express what it does mean to them and how special it is. And because I want them to always be able to remember that moment, and for others to be able to appreciate what it is, because unless you've rodeoed, you don't realize literally the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it and the ups and downs. And it really is a struggle. And so when you get those wins or you make it to the top, it means a lot. And so it is fun. And I mean, Trevor Brazile has always been one of my favorites. I was just so amazed at how he could always control his emotions no matter what happened. And Stetson Wright now is just amazing. I mean, he's one of those guys with just that it factor, and he can. I saw him at a rodeo and he bucked off and was so disappointed, and some kids came up and wanted him to sign an autograph, and he instantly had a smile, signed all of their stuff, took pictures. I mean, he's just a really great guy who, even at a young age, like sees the big picture and how important it is to be a great person in and out of the arena. And I just think, you know, there's others that just really thrive under pressure, and just, I don't know, there's different things that I think just create greatness, and it is so fun to be right next to it. And just, I think there was a series I listened to from a pastor, and it was all about the mind and the brain and how everything works, and positive thoughts and what you tell yourself, and just how all of that is very real and impactful. And so I just think, knowing that, it is fun to be surrounded by that. And it is different when you surround yourself with winners and great people. It makes a difference in your life too. When I go places with Patrick or with Justin McKee, I mean, they're recognized a lot. Unless I look like this, I'm not usually recognized too much, which is totally okay. But it's kind of interesting because I am so appreciative of all the support and the people who do recognize me, you know, just walking by and say how much they love the Cowboy Channel or love watching me, and it really does mean a lot. With that being said, I get hate mail, which may sound crazy, and I have from the very beginning. And it's really interesting. Like, I got a handwritten letter one time that said that their whole family talked about how I just needed a red nose to look like a clown and how fake my teeth looked. And I told my mom, oh my gosh, the years I spent in braces and what you spent on my teeth. And I don't know, it's just crazy, like some of the things that you just realize, like, wow, how miserable those people must be to attack someone else, you know? And so I think it makes it even more of a realization for me to just always be kind no matter what. And if you get a chance to be a light in someone's life and show God's love, how important that is, because there are some crazy things. Like, even this year alone, I've had 2 different people walk up to me and say, like, wow, you look way better on camera, or the opposite. So it's kind of bizarre, the things that you hear and see. But with that being said, the second part of that question, so I've always felt like, from being Miss Rodeo America and from having the faith that I do, that it's so important that I always uphold that to the highest level. I've always wanted to have a standard of excellence for myself, and so that just continues, because I do represent myself first and foremost as far as who I truly am and who my identity is in my Lord and Savior, but I also represent a company who wants to promote the Western way of life and professional rodeo and an entire industry. And I think that's really important, because one person can make such a difference, just whether it be at the airport and, they see me walking through in boots or a cowboy hat, or they're sitting by me on the plane and find out more about what I do, or just a random encounter with someone. It can make a big difference, and you never know where connections can lead. So I do think it's very important to always have high standards and to, represent yourself very well. A lot of people have stories that you never know about. Like, you never know what people are dealing with. And so I think that's why it's so important to be very kind and to just understand that. And especially this last year, like, I've changed and grown so much because of what I've gone through, and just realizing that there are lows that you don't even know can exist. And so to overcome all of that and to live for a bigger purpose, I just feel like I've grown so much in my faith, and I'm really appreciative of that. And I have had so much support. I mean, people that I didn't even realize, cared so much and have stepped forward and just really shown me God's love and been very supportive. So I hope that I'm that to others. I just think it takes a lot of hard work and perseverance to get any goal accomplished in life. And I'm really grateful for the way I was raised on a farm and ranch. And just the other day, a memory popped up on Facebook from, like 10 years ago, and I was in a combine harvesting wheat. And so, I grew up sorting cattle and pulling calves and fixing fence and on tractors and combines. And so it was a great way of life. And I think the rodeo world is so connected to agriculture that it's just a perfect mix. And I'm really grateful for that work ethic that I developed. I also started working at a sale barn in second grade and worked at sale barns through college. And so I think that was a big part of learning to deal with people, and then obviously around livestock. And it's not a glamorous job by any means. So I'm glad that I had those roots that have helped keep me grounded no matter what.
You know what sounds like fun? Your oasis for fun at the new and improved Four Bears Casino and Lodge. Now that sounds like fun.
Ready to make your thing a real thing? Or take your farm from some acres to a lot of acres? How about that huge surprise, the one that changes everything? That forever home you've been saving for? The one you can take anywhere. Wherever you are in life, be sure you're ready to say yes. First International Bank and Trust. Say yes to living first.
Nestled in Big Country sits a 35,000 square foot majestic building, home to the well-known Western Ranch Supply in Billings, Montana. Western Ranch offers everything needed to be a modern rancher, from animal health, fencing, livestock equipment, to tack and saddles. We also added a large clothing selection for men, women, and children, and carry pet supplies, automotive, and hardware. We're a one-stop shop providing a unique shopping experience. Visit us today at Western Ranch Supply or shop online at westernranchsupply.com.
coming off getting to do the NFR the last couple of years was huge and so very cool. I mean, when I got introduced at the NFR as Miss Rodeo America is a memory that I will cherish forever. It was just so awesome. And I remember so many of the contestants congratulating me and being very nice. And it was just like, when you get to that level, like they just know the effort and the work and just, maybe a little bit of luck too that it takes to get there, and they appreciate that. And so getting to work the NFR for the Cowboy Channel and the PRCA was very cool. And then just to follow it up this year by going to some of the very biggest rodeos and getting to showcase rodeo on a stage that it never has been. I mean, being seen by the number of people it is live on the Cowboy Channel and on the app. And I just think it's a really cool time for the sport of professional rodeo and for the Western industry as a whole. And so to be a part of that is really cool and really special. Everything that's happened, you can look back and think there was a purpose in that, and that helped develop me in one way or the other. And I actually read something not too long ago, I think it was in the Team Roping Journal, and they had asked a bunch of guys what their regrets were, to think back, like, what's your biggest regret? And I just remember Trevor Brazile said he didn't have any regrets. And I thought, how crazy is that to look back on your life and think, I don't have any regrets? And so I asked him about it when he got inducted into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame, because I just think that's so incredible. And he just talked about, no matter what happened, even if something didn't go your way or a decision didn't bring about the result you wanted, like, you can't regret that. You have to appreciate it and learn from it and move forward. And what a way to live and to think about life. I was reading something the other day about how, Jesus washing the feet of others, or, sitting at the table with sinners, or who he surrounded himself with, and so I think it's very interesting to look at the example that he set, and just to always, I also read something the other day, and it said, don't judge others just because they sin differently than you. And that's just really the truth. I mean, no matter how hard you try to be a good person and do what's right, like, we all make mistakes, and we're all sinners, and we all need Jesus. And I think that's what can connect us all. And so no matter what, I mean, even if it's just a smile or a compliment, or them just realizing that you're a person that they could come to if they needed something, if you just kind of just show that light, I think that's a way to be impactful to anyone and everyone. When I bartended at the country club, if you closed, then you had to clean up. So you cleaned the bathrooms, you vacuumed, swept, you did all the dishes, you did everything. I mean, you cleaned the whole place before you left. And I just remember it was on my birthday, and I was scrubbing a toilet, and I just thought to myself, no, I'm not doing this. Like, I have to continue pushing forward with what I truly want to do and who I want to be, because I think it's really easy to just kind of get stuck in what feels comfortable, or not really feel like you deserve something better necessarily, or just waiting on someone else to offer you something. And you just have to go get it. You have to pursue it, and you have to push forward. And I just remember that moment so clearly, because I just thought, it was just such a realization for me. And I think those light bulb moments are really important in life, and sometimes it's those hard times that have to happen for you to realize you want something different or something better, or you have to change or make changes. So yeah, that was a pretty pivotal moment in my life, because then I was just like ready to move forward and push forward and have the life that I wanted and the career that I knew that I had set myself up for all my life. And so why settle for anything less than the absolute best?
I've been a cowboy most of my life. I punched a lot of cattle, got in a few fights, and I've been around a time or two. I made a little money, to